right, call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. Anyone speaking in our public forum tonight?
No one has asked us to speak, but this is a public hearing, so anyone.
No, yeah, this is a public.
Oh, I'm not on an agenda. I started on my, yeah, there we go. All right, so can I approve the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, presentation of the 26-7 school calendar.
Okay. Well, we have the calendar here. We are again told we can't start until August 23rd based on the legislation. There was a bill in the works a few weeks ago, but I haven't heard of it lately. I wish it would stay and at least let us go maybe so many days after the state fair, but the 23rd just really binds you, especially if it's on a Friday or a weekend. So what we tried to do was we added just 10 days to the school day, which adds 10 minutes. Whoa, sorry, 10 minutes. And it adds an additional approximately 6 days because you can go by hours, you can go by days. So 1,080 hours is where we're at. And this, if we add 10 minutes per day, it will add additional time for us. The teacher calendar is 190 days, so that's kind of where you have to start with the number of days that the teachers have to have, and then we build in our professional development days and other days around that, and then we do the student days. One of the things we contemplated too was looking at first semester and second semester because the days are pretty, they're a lot different. There's 77 days in the first semester and 93 in the second. So some school districts, because of starting late, are now not ending their second semester until after Christmas break. So they may go a couple more weeks after Christmas break. So that could be something we could consider next year too, if that's, it doesn't really affect the middle school or the elementary at all. It's a high school thing that sometimes is affected. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. We have 13 professional development days built in, and 3 work days. Some of those professional development days are just half days or shortened days. And we have, well, go ahead.
I just have one comment for what it's worth. I understand how the math works and how we're using that to lay the calendar out, but my concern would be that 10 minutes a day is pretty easy to waste off into non-education driven activities versus if those days were, or if those minutes were summed up into days on the calendar, that they're more likely to be allocated to learning. So I think that'll take just some focus from the administrative team to make sure that we wisely use those 10 minutes every day that we have to get the same impact if they were spread out, into full days on the calendar.
And that was the main reason, Pete, to be honest, that we did look at additional time, especially, the elementary teachers have been asking for additional time for quite a while. So we're starting with a small amount to see, but it was based on instructional time. And then looking at just looking at the middle school and high school schedule together. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Is this your time for public comment? I guess you told me I didn't want to speak up too quickly. That was
Sure.
one thing I wanted to ask or to bring back into focus, and Jenny and I talked about this a couple of years ago. I'm never upset about it, but I'm going to shoot from the hip and say 3 years ago, prior to 7, I remember Sandy Meyer talking about a teacher committee that put together and did a lot of work and having more of the teacher PD and service days to be on Fridays or Mondays or Wednesday of Thanksgiving, which we still have. And there was a little bit of a shift away from that a year or 2 ago, just to potentially say, hey, there's a lot of parents that strongly prefer that. I know there's 50 things of pros and cons to weigh and say, well, if this and this, and if you do this, there's the negative unintended. But I'd like to see an emphasis back towards 1 or 2 or 3 Wednesdays and bring back 3 or 4 of those. There's 7 Wednesdays. This year, there's 6 on the calendar when I looked earlier today. If you can't allocate as many of those to a Friday or a Monday or a federal holiday, like we were open a day but the banks were closed. I think on the next year's schedule, there's no school day, but this year, there was school today. Like, try to mirror those and pair those as best you can, just for families and daycare and staff, and if we're gonna be off, it's nice, I mean, pairing that, I didn't know this until 2 hours ago that I was gonna say this, but potentially, because it hasn't passed yet, but we get 1 week a year to spend with our kids without any instructional, like, mandate. Now I hear there's a Senate bill out that passed potentially where that's gonna maybe go to 3 or 4 weeks. Picked Cameron up from basketball and Stephen Boggs, my kid, go to the meeting and this and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, we wanted to go to this thing and 7-on-7 football's in June. It's like, so we can't go. It's like, we get 1 week a year, dead week. It's like, maybe we get Christmas break. So I think these Friday, Mondays of PD days where parents that aren't teachers gives us a little more flex time to do a 3-day weekend with our kids. So Wednesday, there's really nothing you can do. I get they all can't be a Friday or Monday, but if 3 of the 6 or 4 of the 6 could be a Friday or a Monday instead of a Wednesday, that just gives us a little more time to do a 3-day family weekend and sneak away. So I know the teachers really can't because they're PD, but pros and cons to both, so I get that. So
This one next year
that's 6.
has, well, 2 Mondays, so the
Yep.
2
I'm saying it has
Mondays.
6 Wednesdays.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. So,
And then there's one,
the Wednesday of Thanksgiving, and then the 2 Friday parent-teacher conferences, and then next year, whatever, I think it's President's Day today, is a Monday that's off.
It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I think.
Yep, so January, well, there's one in January and one in February. So the one in January is MLK Monday, the one in February is President's Day.
yeah.
We have 2 Fridays of
Makes
parent-teacher and
sense.
the Wednesday of Thanksgiving.
The one thing.
Is this when I'm sorry, since this is the
You're good.
public hearing, is this when the board should be, they're asking their questions too, or do we wait till,
you can.
or interject? Okay. Which are public, yeah, but.
Well,
What's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the one thing I was just
Well, no, I'm still at the board.
add for as far as President's Day and this Wednesday, that one kind of works out nice as a middle school teacher because that's when the DC trip usually falls. So that Wednesday's kind of nice because as an 8th grade teacher especially, we have over half of our 8th graders are missing for the DC trip. So that Wednesday, and then
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. There might be a few Wednesdays you're like, hey, we want these
Yeah.
for this reason, great, keep them. They don't have to be all 6 or 7,
Yeah.
but maybe half of them can be a Friday or a Monday.
Yep.
I know we scheduled a February date because there is a CTE summit on that February, so we would look to send all of our CTE teachers to that conference on that Wednesday, or that President's Day in February.
Yeah.
My eyes aren't good enough to know what date that is.
Sorry.
That's why we put it on that Monday, so we would not have to get subs for 15 teachers, I think, or however many there are.
Is there a reason the Wednesdays, is it, because then it doesn't conflict with sports as much, or what? I mean, is that why?
I don't remember, I know you and I
Part
talked
of
about it a
it,
few years ago, but I don't remember.
And then just
Attendance.
attendance, staff attendance.
I think too, from a learning standpoint,
I mean,
I think she's saying teachers coming to PD, I
She's
think.
trying to, yeah.
teachers
They might miss PD if you have it on a Friday or Monday. It's easier to
They
skip.
often miss.
Taking a personal day. I'd say every 3 days. I've never done it.
what's that?
I've never done it. But I've heard it's happened.
Yeah. I don't know, but I've been
A few times, maybe.
No, we don't have preschoolers on Wednesdays, so then they don't miss
Yep, they don't.
an extra day.
Preschool is on Wednesdays. But
we moved here from a 4-day school week, and we had Fridays off. And my oldest was the only one in school, she was a first grader. It's a lot to relearn on Monday for those littles, because they have a 3-day week. So they're in school 4, we missed Fridays sometimes they were out of school more than they were in school. Not great, because you have to reestablish routine, especially with families that maybe don't have a lot of routine. So I think from a teaching standpoint too, there's routine that you don't miss when you miss it on a Wednesday, because it's in the middle of the week and it's only 1 day, so you're not reteaching those. Maybe high school that probably isn't as big of a deal, but I do think for littles that is a really big deal.
Do any of the professional development days at the beginning of the school year count towards
Yeah.
what we have to have?
Yeah, they all
Those
do.
are the teachers' number of.
They count towards the teacher days.
Towards the teacher days.
So the 190 or contract days for teachers.
Okay. So is that where the 4, whatever days,
Those are not,
what, explain the 4.
Brian?
No, I mean, when do they take place, those 4
Those were
days?
negotiated, from my understanding, they were negotiated years ago when, tell me, you guys might know better, where there was,
Scott, wasn't it?
Well, they
Zero,
like paid
like
vacation days, but they
0%.
didn't like to use that term, so they, what do they call it, flex days?
Yes.
So, but I mean, are we just off those days? Is that a, I don't
this calendar
understand
has
it.
186 days, plus in their contract, they are given 4 flex days. So that includes any time, I mean, teachers do a lot of things after school, and there's lots of extra hours where they're planning and doing that kind of stuff. So that is included in those 4 flex days.
So it's like 4 PTO days.
But they don't,
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
but they don't get
But
to
they
not
don't
come
get
to
to
school.
choose what days
or
those
they're
are,
just-
Roger, they're
What's
just
that?
given them. They don't get to choose those. Like, they still have to work this calendar, because this is only 186, but then they have this 4 days in there that was negotiated years ago when there was 0% SSA from the legislation, so that was what they could negotiate. You can't negotiate that anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess where I'm getting at is where do those come out of in the calendar? I don't.
Basically, they have a 186 day calendar.
Yes.
They're invisible.
But
Yeah.
in their contract, it says 190. So what we would like to do when we get to change the contract is say they have a 186-day contract.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it is very confusing, and it's
Right.
taken me years to,
I mean, isn't it
It was
gonna say
before
like,
my
hey, you
time.
have to cut work 186
I don't-
days?
I don't-
Well, if it's
I would-
before your time, there's nobody in this room.
Well,
You need some weekends.
yeah.
It was before I was on negotiation, at
That was
least.
before I was negotiating.
So it was-
I don't know.
I don't know when was Dr. Scott here?
I want to say it was Broomfield, but I could be wrong.
Here's-
So I
can
was here, but I
redo-
just wasn't.
Can I read you what the master
Might have been.
contract says, Roger?
Sure.
I'll help you. It says, 4, we're calling them teacher choice days. Teacher choice days are defined as any day other than a student day, work day, or staff development day that the teacher wishes to count as a contract day. That's it.
When was that contract written?
Well, this was from 2022 to 2020, this
Christmas is
master
the
contract.
22nd.
It's just an update.
Probably before 2000 that it started.
Yeah,
1999,
that,
2000.
yes, this master contract is, yes.
I had to
I don't
guess
know
it
when it
was-
started,
In the late 90s. That's, but a guess.
but again,
Yeah, I guess I'll summarize mine again, because you got plenty to talk about in all the above. I know there's pros and cons, I know there's teacher, I know there's staff, keep some of them, I know there might be some elementary ed situations too. There's never a perfect answer. If you don't change it, I'm not gonna be mad and write some head op in the newspaper, but it'd be nice to see a few more of those if possible on a Friday or Monday. Or a Christmas holiday, which doesn't matter, because it doesn't fit into this one.
So in this
If they can,
one,
great, if not.
Brent, the August one doesn't matter because it's not a student day. So there's one in September, one in October, one in December.
There's 2 in October if you count 21st.
Oh, my bad. Yep. Half day, gotcha.
What's the 21st? What's
The
that?
teachers have.
It's the end of a quarter,
Today.
so moving that, okay. And then one in April,
We got one in December.
I think I got, okay.
So December's 4, and then you got 2 in the spring next year. There's six on this calendar, 7 in our current year.
Oh, yeah, I have the 12th, the early out.
March 10th?
May 12th is the early out. March 10th, yep.
Yeah.
So
One
there's-
easy answer is Wednesdays are where a lot of activities.
Yep,
Sure.
If we start moving them,
Yeah.
we don't even know what we're moving
Right.
yeah.
into.
Yeah, and again, you might need a couple with BC and whatever, but
Yep.
if you're talking like, hey, the September one is just there because it is. Okay, maybe that's when we move to September 26th on Friday.
So one of the reasons
Or
we were
Monday.
trying to keep them all on the same days to help parents so that you knew it was gonna be on this day, is that helpful or not helpful? Would it be, so what I'm hearing you say is a Monday and then 1 month and a Friday, 1 month and a Wednesday, 1 month would be okay? Just
I
because
sure
we were
think so.
just trying to help parents when they have to plan for daycare or things like that, like is it, you know?
Yeah, I don't think, if it was every week, I think your consistency thing
Yes.
would matter more, like, hey, it's every Wednesdays and, you know, but when it's a little bit random, I don't think it
It's
being a
okay.
consistent day matters. I think it's more, hey, if not many people are gonna go do something on a Wednesday with their family,
Yep.
because the kids are off. The kids are either gonna stay home by themselves, or they're gonna take a day off and, because they don't have daycare for elementary kids.
Okay.
Versus if it's a Friday or a Monday. A little more flexibility with the parental freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other comments, questions? All right. Get a motion to adjourn.
So moved. That's okay?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now we'll move on to the official meeting. So, yeah. Call the meeting to order. We have quorum. Anyone want to speak in this public forum?
Do we have anything?
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, discussion item is first superintendent report.
Okay, we have guests today, so we have Kylie Cum, Casey Ring, Shannon Dare, and Jenny Swenson that are going to talk about all of the district career and academic pieces that we do at the high school level.
So our district career and academic plan, or DCAP, is made up of some of our teachers along with counselors, and then obviously Casey is our principal. Each year, the DCAP team meets twice a year with our AEA to talk about what we did last year, look at our evaluations, and then kind of move forward on what our career and academic plans are going to be. If you want to hit the next slide, Jenny. So just kind of an overall agenda, we take our evaluations, look at how we did last year, and then kind of make changes to implement for what we're seeing as needs for our students from both staff and students. So a lot of this is coming from Zello this year. Zello is our career information system that we choose. And the counselors will kind of talk a little bit more about what that looks like. But taking into account things like our portrait of a graduate, what our students are looking for, all of those kind of go into the goals that we have for our DCAP.
Yeah, so one of the things that we also do is look at some data. This is data showing the most current we have of post-secondary readiness reports. And I will share the link with Dr. Barnett so you guys can kind of mess around on the website and see it. Because when you hover over each of these bullets, it kind of shows you what you're looking at, and it's much more interactive than this. But what we have here is, what this is saying is when our 2024 class graduated, 87% were able to voice post-secondary plans, and so that they had intent. And then you can kind of look back in time, all the way back to a 6-year cohort group to show, this is the class of 2018, that 63% of the class of 2018 completed their post-secondary plans, whatever those were. So you can kind of look at how that data tracks. We saw some positive growth we felt in this game here with our Cyclone Alley and our efforts we've been making with students. 2024 would have been our first big year with students and just helping them with some intentionality behind what are you doing, just what career pathway, work like that. So hopefully we still see a similar or larger number with the 2025 group when we do that next year. You can go to the next one. And the similar data, but just another graph updated, so you can kind of see here our 2024 group and then back through time. So this bottom color is our community college, so students. The yellow is four-year private college. Orange is four-year public college, and then the purple is other. So you can see in the makeup of the 2024 graduate, there's the breakdown of their post-secondary intent and how they, when they left, what their plans were.
So in 2020, there were no students that went to private?
2020 is a different year because they left school and hard to track them down on the data, so we don't really put a lot of weight in that data. So,
Would the other post-secondary, would that include like trade
I think,
school or?
yeah, it's like
Military.
trades,
Military.
military,
Straight to the workforce.
workforce, yeah, trade school,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So one more slide. So just some overall trends. So we saw, look, from 2023 to 2024, our percentage points, or the number of points, kind of doubled. It doubled 18.7 percentage points of that group. Our public university intent declined 5 points. Private college rose, so it kind of just evened out there. Students appeared to be more decisive. Our other group dropped as they made some other choices, and our overall college going rate is still strong. It's just kind of shifting from private to public and moving around that way, so some good data.
Some of our things we can attribute that to are some of our plans that we've made with our students for Cyclone Alley. A lot of our additions that we've made to Cyclone Alley over the last couple of years have been driven by grants that we've received or RTP funding. This year we're in our second year of our CDL certification. We have another 6 students that are going to Iowa Western, and we're partnering with them to get their CDL license. We are adding computer science credentialing, so some of our students are getting their CompTIA exam, Python certification. We've continued on with our drone certification as a part of authentic learning. Our student help desk works with our IT department. We've also had some summer internships with them. Kara has taken on the child care certificate, so we'll have 3 of our students that will finish this year with their child care certificate and have worked at the daycares here in town. And then we've had 2 new student-based enterprises that have been added with Cyclone Brew and Cyclone Snacks, so both of them are employing our students. They're getting those life skills to continue to use, and then one of our largest growing certificates is the business administration certificate through the business department. Next year, we're going to see the auto diesel certificate is splitting into 2 separate certificates for those students that are pursuing one or the other.
Yeah, in the past, we haven't been able to offer a certification through auto diesel. It was just more credit accumulation. And now they've split it into 2 actual certificates, which is more beneficial, we feel, for students. So they can get a diesel certificate and an auto certificate. So yeah, that's good news.
This is some of our data that we've received from Iowa Western from the spring of last year. So last year we had 125 students that were enrolled in some sort of Iowa Western class. Those same students attempted 964 credits. Looking at all of our students that we had in total, they received over 7,000 credits in their longevity of taking classes while in high school. And then the last one is the average graduate of the class of 2025 earned 20 college credits. And 2 of those earned 48. And all of those college credits are free for our students here at Harlan.
Do we know how many of those transfer to the colleges? I mean, do we know?
Just depends on the college and the class. so there's no cut or dry. Some of them are CTE credits, so like they wouldn't transfer well to a four-year school. You know, like the auto diesel ones wouldn't transfer super well to four-year, so there's really not one way to see if they transfer. But I would say most of them transfer very well into colleges in the Midwest at least.
This year's DCAP has a new focus. It's moving down to 5th grade to kind of look at how we're planning with our students from 5th grade on up. That has helped us with our roles on the DCAP team kind of focus on what we're doing, how we're implementing, and how we're making that a smooth transition as they phase from 5th all the way up. And then again, we're connecting all of those pieces to our Portrait of a Graduate, Zello, Future Ready initiatives, so that way everything has intent as we move forward. And then finally, each of us have our own role. A lot of stakeholders that participate in the DCAP have a focus for their own area, and that kind of makes everything come together in a collaborative environment. And then, like I mentioned earlier, counselors, myself and Casey meet to finalize our DCAP and kind of evaluate how we met our goals and where we go each year. And then finally, they're going to talk about Zello, but again, we use Zello as our type of career information system for our ICAP so that we can see how that alignment works 8 through 12.
We're going to take over here and talk a little bit about the ICAP. So ICAP stands for Individual Career and Academic Plan. So from grades 8 all the way through 12, we have to have kind of a individual career and academic plan for our students. And there are different things that we have to expose them to each year. And so you can go ahead and you can go to the next one too. Do you want to start?
Sure. Our goal this year was for our students to see a clear connection between who they are, their strengths, where they want to go, and how that aligns up with the courses that we offer here at Harlan Community High School. So we use Zello to help make that connection between the students and the courses that meet their individual needs.
Zello is a platform. It's a career information system. So it's like a subscription that you buy to an online program. We're only like just barely getting into this program. There are thousands of things that kids could get out of this. We don't have the time to go in super depth with them through it all, but it's something that they can log in at any time on their own and explore careers and pathways and stuff. So it helps them explore their interests, their skills, their strengths, their values. There's lots of assessments that they can take, interest assessments. There are work values, so there's a quiz that they can take that it asks them a bunch of questions and they figure out what they value most in a workplace. And so I think that's something kids don't think about a lot. They think, oh, I want to be an engineer, but they don't think like, but I don't want to sit behind a desk, or I want to be outside. So it really gets them to think about what they value and where they want to see themselves, in addition to just what job do they want. It helps them figure out what skills do they have, what strengths do they already have. Not only to point out jobs that they might, or careers they might be good at, but also like, hey, your strength is not in this area. But if your goal is to become, if you have really poor math skills and you want to be an engineer or something, that's something you just need to work on. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. One thing we've noticed a lot is this program is really effective when students engage into it. So they get out of it what they're going to put into it. If they just want to click and check boxes and not do a whole lot, they can jump through, they can check the boxes. But those kids who are really like taking the time to reflect and think about some of the questions are coming to Shannon and I with really good, thoughtful questions and ideas. It provides a strong foundation for them. They'll start this in 8th grade and it continues on each year, so they build on it. So it can really help them for future planning and making college and career decisions. They can log in at any time. So we'll explain kind of our process and how we used it this year in school so far, but kids can log in at any time. We're also working with our tech department on getting access for parents. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be sending out information to parents about how they can log in, and it connects them to their student profile so they can see all of the things that their students have done. We just hit a couple hiccups in the technology side of it, but Jeremy's been great at helping us with that. So we're hopeful to roll that out soon.
I can do this one, yeah. So why do we use Zello? And again, it's because of our individual career and academic plan. So the state requires us for grades 5 through 12 to help kids with their post-secondary goals, explore their careers, and align that to their coursework for the future plans. So this is just the platform that we chose. There's about 12 different ones that we could pick, and we picked Zello last year. It was our first year.
So within the ICAP, there are 5 essential components, and you have to expose students to these each year from 8th through 12th grade. And there are a variety of different ways that you can bring exposure to each one of these. The cool thing about the Zello platform is there are lessons and activities for them to do each year, but they're different. So we used a free program called MAP, My Academic Plan, prior to this. And it was fine, but it was the same exact thing that you did from 8th grade all the way to 12th grade. So by the time they got to 12th grade, it was the same interest inventory, it was the same work assessments, so it wasn't building on it. It was allowing us to check a box, like, yeah, we've done what we need to do, but we weren't really helping kids or doing our due diligence as their counselors and helping them explore things. And so these are the 5 components that we have to kind of walk kids through, so they can be anything from like the self-understanding, the interest inventories, value or work values assessments, that personality assessments, those types of things, career information, any type of ways that they can research careers. We send out a weekly email right now, Ms. Dare and I do, with a different career each week, and the college that aligns with it. So there are things that we do in addition to just Zello, but this is kind of our base. So all kinds of things that they do within Zello here to meet the 5 essential components, and each year the way that we expose them to that is different. Like I said, there's lots more things that they can do besides just those assessments. There's a huge database of career exploration, so they can search for a career,
watch videos,
and it has videos. It has like how is the
outlook of if this is going to be a career in the future. You can look at money, salary.
They can look by state, Iowa, or they can look by national standards. They can also, it connects them when they take those interest inventories and the work values assessment. It will connect them with careers that would match their interests and their values and stuff, so they can search that way. We do a 4-year academic plan in there. So one really cool thing about Zello is that it matches up with PowerSchool, which is the platform that we use for grades and credits and stuff. So it'll show the student in their Zello platform what classes they've already taken and what graduation requirements those meet. And so that's another thing in the ADCAP is that we have to have a 4-year plan with them. There's ways that they can set goals in there. They can create a portfolio. They can write their resume in there, log work-based learning experiences, volunteer hours, and then the thing that we have done a lot this year are the interactive lessons for each grade.
Here's just what the kids see when they log in. So this is just a screenshot of a student's page. So it's like a social media kind of news feed on the left-hand side, and they'll pick their interests, so they can watch videos or read articles. And then on the right-hand side, you can see where that percent is. That's their to-do list. So those are the things that we assigned them that align up with our ICAP standards that they need to complete. And so they can just go through and check through those. So yeah, that's what the student side looks like. And then this is from the teacher side. So all the teachers have access to it as well. We assign them through their WIN groups. So they can go through and see the kids that they have in their groups. Jenny and I can log in and see their personality style, their learning style. If you click on the next one, some things that they've saved. You can do another one. So this is their 4-year course plan. This one is really neat. We're still working some of the kinks out of this one, but you can see their freshman year, it has all their classes that they took, the grades they even received in those classes, and then they can kind of map out what they want their high school classes to look like, and how these are gonna line up to what they wanna do in the future.
So this year, we started this discussion back in September. We met with the lead team at the high school and kind of talked to them about how we wanted to roll out the Zella this year. It's hard because Shannon and I meet with each kid individually, but we don't have the time to meet with each kid individually to go through all of these lessons. So we don't have a classroom to meet with them. So we have to collaborate with our staff at our school, and they've been great. So we started meeting with the CTE team of teachers back in October, and for all of our PD days in the afternoons of October, November, and December, we brainstormed what's the best way to set this up, and together we decided that we really wanted to do it right before we register for classes, because we wanted students to really see the alignment between what, your strengths, your future, your career, all the things you're excited about. Now let's really look at how can we set up your classes in high school to align with what you want to do after high school. So when we came back from winter break in January, that first week for our 20-minute win period, Monday through Friday, we had them report to their homeroom class, and their homeroom teacher was a facilitator to have them log in and complete these lessons. Shannon and I set it all up on the backside and gave teachers instructions on what activities they should work on each day. And then we continued on Mondays through the month of January in their win time. We extended it to 30 minutes instead of the normal 20 so that we could really give the time and attention to these activities. Like we've mentioned, all the activities are grade specific, so a freshman that was working on something and a sophomore's activity on that Monday would be different activities. And then it was really cool that other teachers could be in the room, because then it wasn't just coming from Shannon and I as their counselors. It was a whole school supporting them on making a decision on what are they going to do after high school, what are some ideas that they have, and how can their time in high school help them get them there. And so it was cool to hear the teachers having conversations with kids about those and giving ideas. They have life experience, outside of what we do, and so they might know someone that had a job in this area, and so it was fun to hear them have those conversations. Okay, I think we can go to the next one. Okay.
Yeah, this was just kind of a timeline to show you the process. So we did start way back in September when we met with the lead team, like Jenny said earlier, and decided that we wanted to roll it out that first part of January, just coming back from break when sessions are a little bit more open. But then from September through January, we meet one-on-one with every student we have on our roster. We go over the credits that they have, their plans for after high school, making sure they're taking the classes they need to be taking. And then we also, like she said, in October through December during those PD days, we met with the CTE team, came up with a plan, and then rolled it out in January. And in December we did our course offerings, had pushed that back out to the teachers, haven't made any updates to the courses that they're going to offer, get that finalized. And then we just last week rolled out our registration for classes for next year. So we put all that together, made some to watch, and our awesome HCHS news class helped make some of those as well. So it's fun student videos, a lot more fun to watch, and rolled that out. So.
The next one, just going forward with scheduling, it's a cumbersome project. So it'll take Shannon and I about 40 hours a week for the next 6 weeks to come up with a master schedule. Holly can probably speak to that. It's not a light task. I think a lot of kids and parents, it's easy for them to hand in the classes that they want, and then they don't realize the hours and hours and hours that we put into trying to make a schedule to get as many kids into their first choice classes as we can. So the kids are just started today handing in those course selection forms telling us what classes they want to take. So Shannon and I will spend the next couple weeks checking each one individually, looking at their graduation requirements, looking at their post-secondary plan to make sure that it's all lining up. Then we will go in and we'll hand them all back, and kids will click on their classes in Power School and their English classes. And then we will work with administration to determine, okay, we had 75 kids sign up for this class, how many sections do we need to offer, how many teachers do we have able to teach these classes? And then we will start creating that master schedule through PowerSchool. We probably will run it 300 times to try to figure out the best fit. So it takes a full-time job, about 6 to 8 weeks to get this done, but our goal is to get as many kids into their first choice classes that we can. And then we hope to release their schedules to students that last week of school before summer break, so everyone kind of knows what classes, what their schedule is like before they leave for the summer. So that's why sometimes when kids come in and want to make schedule changes, we're like, oh my gosh, if you only knew how much time we put into this. So, but we understand things come up. So that just kind of moving forward with where we go from here.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. It's
Yeah.
a lot of work that sometimes goes unseen because they're behind the scenes, so.
And if I can just
Thank you, very
give
impressive.
kudos,
You guys
these
done
two
all
are
this.
some of the best. They do an amazing job working with our students, both on the school counseling side and working with students. That's just part of their job. They also have students who come in who need other kinds of help, and they are doors always open. They just make our team and our school so much better, so I just appreciate them so much.
Great. I think both presentations are great. I'm glad to know the information that that everything that you're doing, and I really think it's going to help the cycling. Allie, I think that's really going to help. And I really like what you guys are doing with the Zello. That's. Can the parents get?
We're working on that.
Yeah, we're hoping by the end of this week or early next week, every parent should get an email. It'll be to the email address that you used, whatever we have in PowerSchool. So probably to use to register your kid. We had a few hiccups with how PowerSchool rolled those over, so we had to have our tech department reach out to Zello's tech department and rerun some things that are way above my head. So and then we started the scheduling, so we had to kind of put that in the back burner for a few days, but we're hopefully by the end of the week or early next week, we'll send something out and you guys should be able to log in and see your children's information, what they completed.
For the course registration, it had suggested classes even for was that new this
That was
year?
something that I did with the juniors this year.
Okay, that
So,
was really nice.
Yeah, so that was one thing in the credit check meetings with the juniors, that was just, we kind of sat down and scheduled out what we thought would be best for them. Because I know it can get overwhelming with all those college credit options. So that wasn't part of Zello.
Okay, well, that was nice.
Thank you.
It is nice to get that earlier. It tends, kids, they bring the stuff home to their parents 2 days before it's due, and getting that information ahead of time was really nice. So, with the scheduling, because I know it's really difficult, and I don't know if this is looked at all when you guys are, when you're doing your scheduling, is that for some of the kids that have extracurricular activities, some of the college or tougher classes at the end of the day when they're, have to miss to go to sporting activities or other activities.
I think it's hard because first hour we can't ever have those classes because it's band. Fourth hour we can't have any of those classes because it's choir. Second and third hour are the only hours we can offer college chemistry because they're down at the center. Mm-hmm. Like the CNA and auto diesel, we have kids that want to do that. They're 5th through 7th period. So there's just so many things that when we put it in PowerSchool, we have to, the PowerSchool makes the schedule and it'll take based on how many kids have signed up for what, and it is a big puzzle, and then we have to manually manipulate things. So it's just so hard. You're correct on that, but it's when there's so many class periods that we have 60 kids in choir and 80 kids in band and whatever. that's 2 out of the 8 periods automatically that we can't put those classes. And so it's just, and then kids that are taking college algebra might also want to take physics. So then we can't have those 2 classes at the same time. And it's just a very tedious process.
And it's harder in a district our size when you only have 1 teacher who can teach that, or 2 teachers. If you're in a bigger district and you have 3 or 4 teachers and you could offer it all day long, then you could be a band kid and a this kid and a that kid. I've just done it before in my past life, and I only did a middle school schedule, and middle school isn't even as complicated as the high school, so the singletons kind of
Yeah, and we try really hard, but sometimes it's like if you want to take everything, we have to find a way to make it all work into a 8 periods, and so it is hard. But I totally understand what you're saying.
One question I have, as far as like the Zello and pre-planning for classes down the road or academics after high school, are there statistics on what they actually follow through with? Such as, say you have a student who in high school wants to go into veterinary school. Are there statistics that say they follow that through all the way through college, or were there career changes after the fact? I look back at, you hear of plenty, even myself, making career changes well after college, and not following through or going down that path after you get your your college diploma. It's not anything that was even on that path at all. I'm curious if Zello has statistics.
Not that I know of, but we're brand new to this, so
Sure.
We haven't figured all of the different aspects of what we can use that for. I do know, we don't always keep track of what kids are, even that data that Miss Ring showed with that graph, that would be if kids followed through with their post-secondary plan after 6 years, but it's not necessarily what major they intended to go into. Sure. It's just if they finished a program, because there's so many kids that even if they think they're going to be a vet, they still might be I'm going in as an undecided major, even if they kind of know. So I doubt that there's a lot of data out there just because kids change their major so much, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, it would be very curious.
How there's, obviously they're following their personalities, really, the Zello program, it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So I just would be curious to know how accurate they are projecting a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade student into what their career ambitions are.
I think there's a shift too from maybe when we went to school and it was what job do you want to have when you finish, and now we talk more in terms of a pathway. What career area are you interested in? You might be interested in human services, which would be education. Start looking at just a pathway area as opposed to the one job, because we all had, the one job you started out in is not the one job you probably have now for many of us. So,
right.
And kids become very overwhelmed when they're trying to decide, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Well, that's not necessarily it, but if you can help a student realize maybe a pathway or just one section of the pie that they maybe are more inclined to head toward, that's a little bit more realistic for them to enter into, So then if they do change their major, it's probably related in some way.
I know this is kind of a nebulous comment, but with the amount of change that the world is going to go through in the next 5 to 10 years, I wonder if, to serve these students best, if we aren't going to have to shift our thinking a little bit from, what's your pathway you're interested in and how does that translate to a career, to where's the opportunity and how do you develop interest in the opportunity. And that cycle, I'm afraid, is going to go faster and faster and faster, where part of what we need to teach the kids is how to adapt quickly You know, I look at CDL as an example. There's a really good chance that CDL exists at 20% of what it does today in 10 years. You know, and I think that's just going to be exponential across everything we touch. So as a board, I think we're going to have to really challenge ourselves to think about some of these. Which direction are we coming from, and what is it we're actually preparing these kids for as they leave?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you taking the time.
Anything more?
No?
Okay. All right, we move to student accolades.
Mr. Mosier.
Okay, so that first, the top picture, we're right next to elementary, if you see, and it's really hard to see, but in the middle,
Yeah.
that is Brett Sears. And he came and spoke to some of our fifth graders about his minor league baseball experiences, and basically hard work and grit, and being able to work through some difficulties, as I'm sure there are in the minor leagues. And he's just kind of famous for a Harlan alum, so that was nice of him to come, and the kids loved it. But that's just good old-fashioned physical education class right there, is what that is. So we just thought that'd be kind of fun to share some pictures of that. The two outside pictures here are, we had our preschool roundup last week where we had 53 students come, 3-year-olds come to get ready and meet the teacher and see the classroom, and that's what the two outside pictures are. The one on the right is a parent helping, and then that's Kay Gosworn on the left working with some kids. And then when the kids come, you know, we monitor, we shouldn't say monitor, but we're looking to see, doing a little checklist, a little evaluation to see how they're interacting, how they're playing, listening to them talk, to see if we can't intervene as early as we possibly can. And also we take that data, we analyze it, and then we build our class list. So we take the kids, so we make our class list that we have as optimal a learning environment as possible. And then if you look, that's 5th grade science in that middle picture. So they have that little green thing down on the ground is a motor with a fan on it. And so they're trying to make a circuit to make that motor go. So that would be a model that they were working on in that classroom.
Middle school. Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, that first picture there is our health and foods class. So they had different stations, were making different things. Those gals were making cookies, so they invited me in for taste testing.
Surviving.
Yeah. Talking about careers, and this is Mr. Sears's, he teaches IJAG for Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates, and then he also teaches an exploratory called Careers, so they start doing some interest inventories of different sorts. He has good discussions with kids, and one of the kids brought up, hey, I would like to research NIL, so name, image, and likeness. And so he said, you get some people and some athletes that maybe want to talk to our class about how that works, and we'll do that. And so lo and behold, this kid, he reached out to a couple different universities, and he had 4 players from the Iowa Hawkeyes team that went online and talked with them, and the kids had 40 different questions to ask the athletes about how do you get NIL money, how much NIL money do you get, and it was great. The kids were just glued into that, and so that's his careers class where that was going on. That first picture over on the left is Mr. Carney invited middle school band participants to be in the pep band on home basketball game night, so that's them being involved in some fun Tuesday and Friday night ball games. Then the next couple pictures there are of Mr. Hazy's STEM class. So they design t-shirts. So they design like the logo, and then they have some hot press machines that they actually then put the logo on the t-shirts, and then they threw out about 20 of them
out of a basketball game the other night, so. Yeah. So a lot of good hands-on activities going on for kids.
Okay, the high school, that first picture on the top left is our CDL class. They start at, I want to say 7 and go till 9:30 every morning, taking turns with the class, and then you can see the simulator behind them. Only one person, of course, can drive the simulator at a time, so they have it scheduled out and take turns. So great class, and the instructor is awesome too. It's just a good group. That next picture on the right is a chemistry class. They were just starting to mess around with some chemicals in trying to, they were looking at the, what was it, the like density of the reaction. They were trying to figure out the reaction without knowing much about the chemicals and trying to figure out what was what based on what they had learned and knew. That next picture is just a picture of the senior boys from senior parent night at the basketball game. And that bottom left is a picture from a large group state speech. We had, I think, 28 students, I want to say, make it from district. 29 advance onto state speech. And here's a couple they were doing group improv. So in group improv, you draw 3 scenarios, you choose one, you have 3 minutes to plan, and then 5 minutes to perform. So the middle is our Cyclone Brew, and they were doing a kindness week for Mia, and that was the day they had 50% off drinks, and all money went to the scholarship fund. And the photo on the right is, I think, our choir singing the national anthem at a basketball game. So with the flag, it's just a really neat setting there. Very cool.
And that was really awesome. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, they sounded so good.
Yes.
I know.
The District 1, that is for the foundation, the Shelby County State Bank, and then also Brent Sheevy's, the agency, each gave $10,000 to the foundation towards our Giving Tuesday match, so that was very generous of them. Mr. Mosier, is this preschool?
Yep, that's one of the sessions for preschool roundup.
And then this is just, Kylie and I took a group, and Jeremy Poor took a group to the Day on the Hill. So there was a nice senator from out east who didn't even know us, and we were just kind of standing at the top, and I was explaining to the kids how things work because you can't go in, but then he just introduced himself and said, "Do you want to go take a picture?" And so he was great. And then there's our picture there from, I guess that's the choir. And then there's Special Olympics. There's Carter Osborne and Tom Kurtz. Carter was so excited. I think Mitch actually sent me that picture, and he said thanks for Special Olympics because Carter was so excited. So we also got a generous donation from Mia's grandparents for Special Olympics basketball just during Kindness Week. So that was very nice too. Okay.
It's waiting for a long time.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, next we have approval of the Harlan Education Association initial proposal for the 2026-27 collective bargaining agreement.
So I don't know if you need the papers, but I don't remember last year being up there, so. So it's just for package increase of 3% for the next year on the master contract. That would be $293 on the base salary, and also allows for horizontal and vertical movement on salary schedule for teachers, so. Need those then. Thank you.
So We did meet with the Finance Committee and shared this exact same proposal. Brian shared the exact same proposal, and then we've met with the Education Association. So, Brian, I don't know if you want to share anything else about it?
I mean, it's per chapter 20 rules, essentially, if it, you know, 3%, what chapter 20 states, it's the lower CPI or 3%, which the CPI right now is right around 3%. Obviously, I've done this long enough, I can tell you if it ever goes to mediation or arbitration, it's going to be 3% anyway. So, I mean, we've prepared all of our budgetary information here based upon the 3%.
We are anticipating 2% SSA, but I mean, the Senate right now has a 1.75. The governor's recommendation was 2.0 or 2%, and then the House has not given anything just yet. Usually they historically come in a little bit higher, and then we're settle in the middle. So that's where we are right now.
Everything I've heard is it's going to be at 2%.
At 2%.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
Yep.
staying around.
Thank you, guys.
Staying around.
Easier than it used to make you guys sweat it out.
That's a negotiation tactic to make you sweat it out for a while.
Yeah, we were harsh on it.
That's great. Josh.
Do you know from the state level, is the 2%, as part of, you know, the reasoning why they don't do more than that? Is it mainly just I mean, budget, of course, but, you know, are there more due to the voucher system? Has that affected that a lot?
They say it does not, but the voucher system, there is no limit to the voucher system, so I asked that question the other day. So if there's no income limit right now, so anyone can apply for a voucher and receive a voucher. And so the pot there's a specific name for it, and Margaret told me, and I should have known the name, but it's basically just this pot of money that if 10,000 people do it, then 10,000 people get it. If 15,000 people do it, then 15,000 people get it. So there's money there somewhere for that. The other thing about the 2%, which we're kind of lobbying against, is right now the state is down a total of 7,600 students. So that includes the voucher kids and the public school students. So their overall initial from last year to this year is already down 76,000 students times approximately $8,000. 7,600, I'm sorry, 7,600. Oh, not 76,000. 7,600 times $8,000. Right. They're already, so it's
$60 million?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's.
So the increase, the 2% increase really, I mean, it's a small increase from last year, but it's not near what it should be. And the information that has come out, it shows that it has increased year after year, but it doesn't take inflation into consideration. So.
I would say,
especially with the minimum.
Yeah.
In the 16 years I've done this, I would say I can only think of probably 3 years where we've got more SSA than you can realistically expect to negotiate it. understand chapter 20 changed. When chapter 20 changed, chapter 20 is the bargaining with your unions. When that changed, even for lack of a better way of putting it, it leveled the playing field, because prior to that, if you got 5%, chances are your negotiators were going to come in and ask for that or more. Well, I would say in the 16 years I've done it, I don't know, maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times where we've gotten where it's say where we settled.
Yeah, the difficult part is, we're only gonna get 2%, and you have to settle almost at 3%, so.
And while I don't totally equate, they're both the general fund product. And the fact of the matter is that's just makes, you have to be that much more strategic with your decisions on staff and everything else. And everything else.
Right, which Brian will get to some of that, but that is something that we're already looking at, so each resignation, we will definitely look at to determine if we need to fill that or not fill that at this point.
Speaking of resignation.
That's a personal report segue.
Yes. So we did have one early retirement notice, and that was Jeff Faw. So this is the notice that he is resigning from his position as well as his coaching position. We had a few paras resign. Devin Hawsey from the elementary special education is resigning next year, and Haley Haynes from high school language arts. The good news is we have a lot of interviews this week for our director of finance position and our activities director secretary position. So hopefully we'll have those 2 positions filled by the end of the week or early next week. And then we've got some candidates for our language arts position. So we can get those set up. Devin literally just put in her notice, so I haven't even gotten that posted. So I just snuck it in on this. So I think we're setting pretty good for next year so far.
Okay.
And then because we just approved the association's proposal, contracts can go out the earliest they can, middle of March. So we'll get those ready to be sent out, and teachers and staff get 21 days to sign that. So then we'll really know where our numbers are for next year.
Okay.
Any questions on the personnel report? And I get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Jim.
Aye. Opposed? All right, next up is approval of the 26-27 school calendar. Can you speak to the discussion we had before? I think we can listen to Mr. Sheevy, but if we don't do a lot of pre-planning with that, we could get in trouble. So that is something maybe we could take into consideration next year.
Yes, I agree, yeah.
I don't mind if Catherine writes a new schedule, I guess.
He does.
You remember how the counselors were saying that a lot of time goes into that? Well, not nearly as much time as they spend, but I feel like I do spend quite a bit of time on this.
So I had a question about, just from a statute standpoint, the statement was made that you could maybe go to a 186-day contract. The state doesn't mandate 190.
No.
They do for student days or hours.
They mean hours.
1,080 hours or 100, yeah.
So that's something I never thought of with the extra 10 minutes, so that adds, so then there's less days at school for the kids.
There aren't less days. I think we have the same amount of days.
Okay,
It just builds in snow days.
okay. So
Or
we still have the
if
same
you don't-
amount, so we still have the same amount of
You
days.
have
Uh,
yes.
Got a lot of snow days.
I know.
What's that?
It gives more time.
You have additional instructional time, yeah.
Okay. So it's not like we're we're at 10 minutes and we're taking 5 days out of
No.
the schedule?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
In high school and middle school, that's like what, a minute and
Yeah.
A minute to each class.
a minute and
Yeah.
10 seconds or 15 seconds or something. Probably a minute 15 for 8 hours.
Pete, is this something that AI can help us with?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay,
That one can
What?
help with?
the calendar, AI.
But you'd have to plug in a lot of information first. I mean,
But once you figure it out, it would help
Yeah, I
a
was
lot.
gonna say,
Honestly,
It'll learn it for you.
Mr. Miller, you might be able to answer, well, a lot of our activities for next year aren't even scheduled yet, I would assume.
Close.
I'm sorry.
Close for middle school.
Close, but not completely
Like, I
done.
know
So
today-
if you're trying to move days off of Wednesday, which would avoid all kinds of
Like
activities.
today, the jazz kids were gone, BPA was gone, the high school was pretty empty, I think, today. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't-
Yeah, so it would have been a good day, it'd
So it
been a
would
good
have
day
been a
not
great
to
day
have
to
school.
not have school.
Yep. Yep.
But, yeah.
Okay, so
There are
we're
definitely points to be
for next, yeah.
taken.
And then also, since we're on the calendar, and it's just a question that I thought of while we were sitting here today, is the early outs. Like, when we early out for a couple hours or something. What's the purpose usually of the early outs?
Well, the conferences are 4 of them,
Okay,
and there's 8 total.
okay.
I think there's 8.
I think they're usually before holiday.
Yeah,
the first day
before
of school.
holidays, the first day of school, homecoming.
Okay.
And then the very, very last professional development is just a 2-hour early out because we wanted one in the last month, May.
Okay.
So do
That's
we
all
try
we-
to have a professional development day once a month? Is that's
the
the
goal.
That's the goal.
Okay.
In May, you don't feel like you need a full day, but you do want some time to touch base with teachers. It's kind of like when you're doing reflection stuff or end of the year, a couple hours, it seems to be
So there's an
enough time.
option of get rid of some PD days.
The 2-hour ones, is that what you're thinking?
No, I'm just asking in general.
Well,
What's our
there
requirement?
isn't because we have to hit that 186 days for
Yeah, so like if you
teachers.
get rid of a PD day then, or a PD day, then I mean, it's just a balancing act, it
Okay,
really
yeah.
is.
I mean, I don't know,
You're
so I'm
going
just
to
asking.
increase a
Yeah,
school
so
day.
the master contract kind of dictates how many, it's required that we have 8 PD days and 3,
Work days.
work days, thank you. So, I mean, that's kind of where we get our numbers.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, that master contract is through 2027.
The other thing that's a little hard, Roger, is we do
Through
1,080 days, or 1,080 hours. We do hours for students, but we do
And
days
days
for
for
teachers. So that's where it gets a little wonky. Another thing I think we should maybe possibly consider for the 27-28 school year is extending that first semester past Christmas. Or looking at, because even if you make Christmas a week and a half break instead of 2 weeks, you're still only adding 2 days or 3 days, where it's
Or what about if
that's a high school
the
thing. though.
Christmas break started closer, like on this one, if it started on the 23rd, but they didn't come back till the 5th or 6th.
Yeah,
So they'd still have 2 weeks, but then it'd make the
yeah,
first semester longer.
3 more days,
And
yeah.
make the,
So then you go to 80 and 90, 80 and 90, so there's still, yeah.
Still some
Yeah.
discretion.
just to try to get
Yep.
more
Yep.
in that first semester.
Studying
Yeah.
over a
I
holiday.
assume the
What's
final
that?
exam is the same, whether you're taking a first semester course or a second semester course, so you
Yeah.
have less
don't know.
time.
Yeah.
We
That's
had that
first
when I was in
semester.
Yes,
school. I
that's
hated it. I spent my whole Christmas break
Yeah.
doing
Studying.
See, I
didn't like it.
I don't think the
but
kids would like it at all.
Yeah, I agree,
Well,
I agree.
If you're talking
So-
about high school kids, juniors and seniors, they're taking a lot of college credit classes. Those are gonna end,
Yeah.
second week of December. And new ones are gonna start first week of January.
Good point,
But-
Lori.
But
Yep.
the high school stuff's not really starting over until.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
That would be challenging.
Yeah, that's
to say the least, yeah.
I think too, when you get into spring and May, the kid, like attendance is 93 days, but when kids are so involved in everything that they miss, like, just
They miss more on the stuff.
Oh, they're just,
Like, we put all this stuff out about attendance, and I'm like, my kids miss for school all the time.
Yeah.
They're on school activities.
which we want them involved,
We do.
which is so good,
But sometimes
it's-
I wonder why everything's on school days.
it ends up evening out. I don't know if that's true. I just
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
the spring is so busy that the few extra days are nice to have because it helps
It
catch up.
balances it.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, I wouldn't be in favor of,
Okay.
of that, but
Yeah,
I do like the
state
idea
would let
of
us start earlier.
Christmas break later.
I do
Yeah.
too. I think the
Yeah.
Christmas break should start till the 23rd and
Okay.
go to the 6th.
Yeah.
You know, to give that extra 2 days.
You don't get 3 weekends,
Gets it
but
a little more.
that's okay.
What's that?
You don't get 3 weekends,
Yeah.
but that's
Oh,
okay.
right.
When we surveyed the teachers last time, they liked the extra 2 weeks.
Yeah,
You
they'd
should
still
stay-
have the
Oh,
2
moving
weeks.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
just
I
have,
understand
you'd
what
go
you're
2
saying.
days
Sorry.
and then you still have the 2 weeks. It's just that you'd push more of it till the end of,
Yeah.
till after.
You could definitely
Into
put that for
January.
Yeah, that's a
27,
good-
28, yep.
Just another-
And if,
Voting,
yeah,
so
if
have
we
some
could
input.
just start even
A week
3 days earlier.
Yeah, if
just
the-
make life so much easier.
If you could start on the
for everybody.
20th of August, it sure
Yeah.
would make a big
I mean,
difference.
I get not wanting to start on the August 4th, but
I think the fair is till the 22nd though this year. I think there's no way you could start early.
I think we did look at that, and it is.
Yeah,
It's-
I
yeah.
think this year, last year, we could have started a week earlier, but.
Sorry.
You're right, Catherine.
Good discussion. Thank you.
Last comment on this, and it's probably a topic for a different meeting, but it's on here and related. I've gotten probably more comments from families about how time is required by school or school activities in non-school days or in vacation days, they feel like, than ever before. That may be something the board needs to talk about soon. And back to Brent's comment, they're finding it hard to take family vacations and things like that, so. Again,
There
related,
is-
but probably a new topic for another meeting.
Yeah, there is something that just came out legislatively that got passed. I'm not sure if it was, I think it was the House.
You mentioned it.
Yeah, so it
3
was
extra
3
days.
different times. So you would do a protected time like in July, a protected time in the fall, in November, and then a protected time. But they've got to work out between if you make the state playoffs in football, then do you how do you, so I think they've got
Is
to
it
go
over
back and look at the
Thanksgiving? Well, and you
dates.
could do over Thanksgiving break, that would give you a week there.
Yeah, it's tough to do something
That's
as a
one I
school
always
district unless everybody
should've
is,
said.
Yeah.
unless everybody's doing it and the conferences
That's
throughout the
I was just
city.
thinking, you can try and fix it internally, but then everybody else.
Put down everybody else, yeah, so that's what makes it difficult.
Take somebody to lead it though.
What's that?
Take somebody to lead it though.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Move to approve the district calendar as presented for 26-27 academic year.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are, I got lost. Approval of the 24-25 audit report.
I can get it out. Okay, yeah, let me find it here.
Although it may be small enough and ain't gonna make any difference.
Well, just start, Brian, start.
All right, I don't know, she's gonna call up the audit report here. Typically, what I've always done when we get, this is actually not required, I just feel it's very important. I feel it's very important that the board accepts the audit report. I've always done it, I guess I'm gonna continue to do it. It gives me the opportunity to kind of go through what I would say some quick highlights. On page 9, on page 9, there was a slight increase in the general fund revenues during the year, but there was also an increase, and that was actually from an increase in the local and state revenues, but there was a decrease in the federal revenue programs. That was kind of expected because we were right on the end of some of the final stuff that had come through the COVID and then after COVID and stuff. General fund expenditures also increased slightly. Pretty easy to predict where that is. It's an increase in salaries and benefits. Our general fund expenditures did exceed the revenues by $215,000. So there was a decrease in the general fund balance. You know, there's always some ebb and flow in that. And a lot of, you know, that just forces us through the budgetary part that we have to be cognizant when this happens, that we have to be strategic. I think Jenny talked about it earlier. Anytime we have the chance to possibly look, is there something we can absorb or such, we have to look at that. We just have to be cognizant of that. Our enrollment's decreasing like everybody else in the state, and you just have to take every opportunity there. Let's see, page 9 also, a little farther down, the solvency ratio did decrease from 16.7% to 15.4%. That was anticipated because our cash reserve levy, we actually kept down a little bit. The cash reserve levy, just to refresh your memory, that's what we use typically to when you have a sped deficit, when you have an ELL deficit, you're going to spend that. You can get the authority back, you can't get the cash back. That's what we use to fund that. So there was a little bit, but it's well within what we feel is an acceptable level. We try to stay in 5 to 15. Don't feel too bad if it gets a little higher than that. If you go to page 11, the district's total net position, and I always liken this, having come from the for-profit side, the total net position, I equate that to, if you're in a business, your equity, increased by about 1.2 million during the fiscal year. Largest part of that was because of our capital projects funds, the things going on around here. Page 12, this is just informational only. During fiscal year 25, property taxes and unrestricted state grants accounted for almost 72% of our revenues, and instructional and support services accounted for 82.2%. The instructional and support services, that you're talking the actual educating the kids and then supporting so the support staff that's involved with that. Page 13, am I going too fast for you? Okay. Page 13, the revenues for business type funds, in parentheses the nutrition fund, decreased 79,720 and expenditures decreased by about 12,000. The revenue decrease is primarily because of our student enrollment down, and there was some regression in the participation of the use of the program. The expenses obviously also dropped because there's less student participation. I would note that the expenses, the expenses, we actually could have went down a little farther, but we've got a good fund balance right now. Any district that came out of COVID that didn't have really good fund balance, it would have been really disappointing because it really raised up the fund balances in the nutrition fund. But we're using a lot of that to right now in the last year and this year to make some much needed equipment.
So that can't come from Pepple?
No, nutrition has to come out of nutrition. It's got to be, well, Roger, yes, it can.
I mean, the equipment, like if you need new.
It can, but our nutrition fund is strong enough right
Okay.
now. A lot of what we're doing is we got a really robust fund balance, and that's the time to do it. Okay. Page 14, just a real quick look. Page 14, we operated within our budget as it was amended. We amended it because of some timing differences. Page 15, you know, and this I could spend a lot of time talking about it, but, you know, we spend a lot of time administratively monitoring what's happening to keep ourselves in a healthy position. We did have a decrease in enrollment, and we've got, as a board, as an administration, we've got to continue to make decisions based upon our enrollment trends, where we can make ourselves that much more efficient, or if we can absorb positions, that's what we have to do. Also, our SAVE funding, and there's been a lot of, this has been discussed, I think, at the state level too, Jenny. Our SAVE funding is, right now, is more than enough to satisfy our revenue bonds. And we've used the excess between that and what we get, we use that to support our tech needs. We do that so we can keep a lot of that out of the general fund. General fund is the fund that we have to monitor the most, but we do have enough SAVE revenues that we can support our tech there, so that's what we do. We also, right now, just to give you really rough dollars, because we'll get into it in the budget, but right now we get approximately 1.8 million in the penny or the SAVE. It takes us approximately 1.2 to satisfy our revenue bond debt. We use approximately 300,000 each year for tech. So there is some give there. There's been talk that they're going to, I don't know the word I want to use, but they're going to, any future growth is going to go away from education and towards someplace else. We do have enough barrier there, we're in good shape, but a lot of what we use that extra for is we'll have big projects that'll have to come up. And we want to be able to do those within the funds we're already receiving. Just to give you an example, at some point in time, Merrill Field will have to get refurbished or whatever they call it. That's our ability to do it is through that fund. Okay? And if I'm going too fast and you got a question, just yell at me, okay? The district does assess a debt levy, and that meets all of our debt service. I'm gonna go all the way back, and I got a few more comments after I get done with my sheet here, but page 65. And this is also noted in 70 and 71. The district was in compliance with all our federal programs. When the auditors come in, they check our compliance with federal programs. What they'll typically do is they'll choose one or two that they'll really focus on, but then they'll look at the other ones at a lower level. Page 68. You know, you got to really look through it to find it, but basically what the verbiage there says, they didn't feel there were any internal control deficiencies or instances of compliance. And again, they noted that on page 70 and 71 also. Finally, on 72, 73, and 74, there were no major findings. There were two minor findings. This one we have every year. The first one is we count, we have our student count, and they start on the 1st and end on the 15th of October. Okay. Can you tell I don't help with that? as hard as you may try, you're not going to catch everything. There's going to be a kiddo that, for lack of a better way of, maybe gets counted, doesn't get counted, gets counted by the wrong district. You're going to have these every year. And what this is, it just rectifies that. Okay? And they do it through the audit. The other minor finding was on March of 2025, they did note that the district went into a closed session, and it does require a roll call. They said it's a minor thing, just know that going forward.
I blend the toilet, so.
She finally made a mistake.
Put that in the notes.
Roger's writing it down.
A couple other really quick things, and Catherine's going to be kicking me pretty quick. We do an exit conference with them, and we ask them, do you have anything else that, any other things that we can note? They're very good about noting that. They really didn't have anything this year. One of the things I try to do, and I hope my predecessor does too, is I try to have as much done ahead of time. There's a lot of, you go into some of the smaller school districts, and they'll have where they have to actually accrue the vacation and stuff like that. I try to have that all done ahead of time, so all they really just have to do is approve it. And that, they appreciate that, and it also helps audit process go quite a bit better. I noted the internal controls. We did have some fund regression, but a lot of that is because we were spending our funds down on construction. And I think that's all I have, really. The rest of it's all budgetary related.
Any questions?
Brian, my question around the fund regression was sometimes those one-time expenditures hide something else that's going on. Is there any other trend underneath that we need to be aware of?
No. Nope. I would be very comfortable saying no.
Okay.
Good job, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're off too long.
Thank you.
Yes.
I gave her the kicking sign. That came from me. Any other questions? Can you get a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second.
Thank you.
Got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now at policy review schedule, first reading. Have a good night, guys.
I chased them away, apparently.
They stayed for you.
Let me know if I'm going too fast.
Mr. Goose, are you?
Sorry.
I got confused as to which one it was.
That was awesome.
Catherine, I only have one question on these. For purposes of our policies, do we consider internet and network to be the same, or are those different?
I do not know.
It seems like we're changing the policy so that they would be considered one and the same.
Okay, do you have a specific example that you think we should?
Like up here, Pete, like where it's struck?
Yeah.
Would you say I sat down with Sarah and, so she helped me through this in addition to looking at the IESB's, recommendations. So, I'd be happy to ask for those questions. I can't answer them though, sorry.
The easy example I can think of is if we had, like if students had file storage on a server at the school that they weren't leaving the school network to go get, now they're on Google and Gmail, so they're going out on the internet to
Right.
get that, but
Oh,
I don't think that they have any access to that. I'm not, but don't quote me on that because the business department may, like, because they use Excel or they use, so let us ask those questions. It's just the first reading, so we can definitely ask those questions.
yeah.
So are we changing the network to
Yeah.
encompass
Can you
internet and network?
Yes. Can you say your question again, please?
are we,
It looks like it is because it's striking both.
yeah. Basically, are we considering internet and network to be one and the same now? And if, you know, if all the software and everything is all going out into the cloud, then that's probably okay. But if there's anything local, we just might want to know that.
Put that in here for
I don't
sure.
know,
Okay,
I
yep.
don't know how internet and network could be the same.
They're not, but if, again, if everything's out on the cloud and requires
It is on.
internet access to get to it, then we'll probably cover it.
I think everything is, I just don't quote me on that one, because I don't, we'll ask and find out. We'll tell you tomorrow.
No other questions for me?
It's a good one.
Any other questions from anyone? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Jen and Roger?
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, next is policy review to schedule second reading. Any questions on the second reading? All right, can I get a motion to approve the second reading?
So,
I'll second.
Who said that?
Jennifer?
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we are to consent agenda.
Can I note one thing on this, please? And I think I told most of you, maybe not all of you. On the treasurer report by fund, there is a typo. And it's in the construction fund, and it's because there was a retainage adjustment that did not get made this month. So that will get corrected.
So it's here, Brian?
Keep going.
No, the third.
Keep going. Keep going. One more. One more.
Third page.
Yeah, but the middle of that page where, on the construction.
So
That will get corrected in the next month.
it's a typo. Do you want to put it?
Do you want to say
The
what
real
the type,
number
what
in
the
the
real
minutes?
number should be, and then we can,
I can do that if you like. Or we can just correct it next month.
Okay.
I'll just correct it next month. Because I physically have to make an adjustment on the books, and I could on this, but let's just do it prospectively going forward.
so that's supposed to be a positive number.
that's you.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I did not, on my proofreading, first time through, I did not catch it. And I'm sitting here at 4:48. I think, well, I think that's right.
Any other questions for the consent agenda? Get a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.